And the first thing we need to do is approve the February meeting minutes. Do we have a motion, or are there any changes?
I would make a motion to approve the minutes of the February meeting.
Second?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we not have Josh? Or, I mean, I see he's on, but
Josh, you're muted.
I'm not like in Rome or anything.
I know, I missed that.
All right,
Okay.
so the first COA is COA 21-23. Kim Conway would like to add landscaping to 211 West Flagey.
Kim, do you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about the project?
So our backyard is quite small, and we back up into a lot of alley and parking. So what we're hoping to do is just kind of add privacy. We came to the historic board to plant 5 emerald greens, and those were approved, and 3 of them ended up dying. So we only have 2 left, and it just really wasn't enough privacy and foliage to kind of not see cars everywhere. So what we're hoping to do is just kind of take our back space and even kind of wrap it around the sides a little bit, just to plant some, and kind of gotten with a local guy here who kind of gave me some recommendations on what really grows well here, and some things that will give us some year-round privacy, some things that will, you know, grow in the spring and summer and things like that. So it's just a mixture.
Okay. You froze on us, but we could still hear you.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Does anyone have any questions about this regarding the application? Any questions about the plants or anything, or the design?
Oh, shoot. Does the addition go all the way, almost all the way back to the back of the property? I'm looking at page.
Yes, so it will be at the rear. I share a yard with our neighbors on
Okay,
the back, so we don't go all the way to the alley. We are kind of cut off halfway back.
okay. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, these all seem like reasonable things to plant. What about this cobblestone border? Is
Yeah,
that
it'll
like,
just be, I'm sorry.
will that be like just loose rock at the edge, or is it some kind of path, or what do you mean by cobblestone?
It's the base, or just, you know, when you're mowing or weed eating, it'll just kind of be probably 6 inches off the ground, just to surround, you know, the mulch, so that it's easy to maintain.
It's a formed concrete, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And Roche, is that something?
We've approved it.
Mhm.
We've
The only
approved it at several.
The only time I remember approving it is when someone moved in and didn't know they had to go through us, and we approved it afterwards.
Well, we approved it, not the cobblestone design, but we've approved it around Greg Ashworth's property.
Yeah.
Several different borders. And
Okay.
then I'm looking at the next one. I've got let's see.
But is it appropriate enough?
Yeah,
Okay. That was really my only question.
Yeah, it's a good border, and we have approved them before.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Rochelle, did you have a comment?
Nope, I thought this was
Oh.
very good.
Okay. Do we have a motion for COA 21-23? Excuse me.
So I would make a motion to recommend approval of COA 21-23. My motion is based on the following findings: that the landscape design is consistent with landscaping standards set forth in Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. And Kim, you know that you have to wait until it goes a week until it goes through city council, and then you can get started.
Okay, well, I get a letter in the mail. Is that how it still goes?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Kim, it'll get emailed to you probably. It'll either be in the mail or it'll be emailed to you after city council.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you, guys.
Welcome.
Very good.
Who seconded that, you guys?
Josh.
Thanks, Kim. Josh, thanks, Josh. Okay. Okay. Great.
All right, moving on to COA 21-25. Darshan? Or do we have a representative here?
No, so let's go ahead and skip that.
Okay.
I don't know if he hasn't, yeah, he's not on here. So I might just give him a quick text message and see if I can get him on, but let's go ahead and continue.
Okay, 21-13 is Miss Hamilton.
Kelsey?
Hey everyone, Thomas Hamilton here. Kelsey's here with me. I'm just happen to be in front of the screen.
Okay.
And so I don't know how best to proceed, but basically this is a request and sort of a two-part thing. One, we've installed some shutters on the front of our house. We replaced some old ones, and there was a bit of confusion, and they are not conforming to the old ones. Kelsey had communicated with Rochelle and got permission to replace 4 of them. Okay, Kelsey corrected me. Our contractor, Victor Hall, had communicated, and so what I had thought that meant was if they were in disrepair, they could be replaced. And so we replaced all of them because they're in really poor condition. And we should have gotten approval. We did not. So I talked to Rochelle, and what we're here for today, I think, is to try to rectify the situation. I talked to Rochelle, and I think if it meets the board's approval, what we'd like to do is to work with Rochelle to see if we can take the current non-conforming shutters and to remedy the situation and have them be historically accurate for the property. I think the primary issue, and Rochelle can correct me if I'm wrong, is the distance at the bottom of the shutters is shorter on the new ones as opposed to the old ones. Now, I'm not a shutter expert. I didn't notice the issue until it was brought to our attention. I certainly thought they were exactly the same, but they're not. They're visibly not. But it was just something I didn't notice and didn't really spend as much time probably on this as we should have. But we know they're not conforming. We certainly weren't attempting to do anything or sneak anything through or do anything that wasn't permitted. I can give you a little brief background as to why we even got into them. If you all will remember, some of you may have been on the board a few years ago, or I don't think it was that long, maybe a year and a half ago, when we replaced our roof. In December of 2020, when we were doing that. No, it's 2019, December 2019, when we were doing that. There was a bad leak where the roof wasn't really the crew left for the weekend and they didn't fully prep it, and it rained significantly. We had a huge rainfall event, and so the inside of our house got soaked, and we have plaster walls. Well, the plaster walls, if any of you all have historic homes, know that if you get them wet, it's a nightmare. So we were trying to dry them out, and one of the walls was not drying. And so the roofer, to his credit, he took responsibility and tried to fix it. And he got up there one day, is a second story room that had the most of the damage, and was trying to figure out why the wall wasn't drying. We had a commercial grade dehumidifier, and it wasn't really drying out enough to where they could fix the plaster. And so when he looked behind one of the shutters, the shutter that was closest to the leak, he was inspecting the window, but he reached back behind the shutters, and there was about 30 or 40 bats that had nested behind this window, or behind the shutter. And so we removed the shutters to let the bats leave. You know, I didn't want bats behind the shutters. They weren't in the house, but they were behind the shutters. So I removed them, had them removed. And when we did, we noticed that they were held together by wire, and they were in really poor condition. And so that's when we started thinking about changing them. And for whatever reason, we didn't go through the processes that we should have. We should have taken our time with it more than we did. It just didn't get the attention that it needed. And then when it was found out, we had to apply. We've done so. We understand that they're not in conformity with the rules. So what we'd like to ask the board to approve would be to allow us to work with Riche to take the current shutters that are there from a non-conforming shutter to a conforming shutter.
So Riche, am I hearing that it's possible to just rework the lower portion of that shutter? And
Yes.
then we'd be, oh, okay, great.
Yeah, because the original shutters have been disposed of, unfortunately. So what we have is the shutters that we have currently, but they don't match the original design.
Right.
So what I would recommend is that you all do kind of let them remodify the existing shutters of what they have, rebuild them to the specifications with the other one and make it match the other shutters. And I could work with them if the board is willing to let them do that.
Okay. I think looking at the picture of the original shutter, that looks quite possible, quite doable.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, yeah, good.
And the shutters that have been replaced, they're wood?
Yes.
Okay.
And they have the original hardware on them. It's just, they're just not, that bottom end is not the same.
Okay, so are there any other questions from the board?
And I would recommend that be approved with the condition for final staff approval to come through me, please.
Of course. Okay, do we have a motion for COA 21-13? And please include that it's a reworking of the new shutters that is be approved by Jay.
I'll take a stab at it. I make the motion to recommend approval of COA 21-13 with the following conditions: that the actual final shutter is the design of the bottom of the final shutter is approved by Riche.
Thank you.
Second,
And the shutters are consistent.
I second.
do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Do we have Mr. Patel back yet?
Thank you all.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Tom.
Thanks, Thomas.
Thanks.
Yeah, we don't have him back. I called him and spoke to him and asked if he had any trouble to please call me, but he is not logged on to the meeting. So I'd like to continue on with Bourbon Capital Brewing, please.
Okay, COA 21-26. Bourbon City Capital Brewing.
Oh, the
Just
stone
Bourbon Capital
address.
This is to address stone, an address stone to the property. I read that as
Yes.
something different.
It catches you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it looks very attractive.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with it at all.
I agree.
It's,
I'm just looking to make sure it matches our rules, which I can't fathom it doesn't. It's very nice.
yeah, the photo's page 7, and it's on limestone. It matches the stone at the base.
I was just trying to find the rules just to make sure. I mean, Riche, this meets all the rules, right? She's on the telephone.
Beth, I have one comment.
Okay. Is
the word avenue centered? It may be the way that I'm looking at the photo. So whoever makes the motion, it's that each line needs to be centered. I did a quick measurement and it seems like it's closer. The E is closer to the right margin than the A is to the left margin.
Rick, I think it looks funny because the 2020 underneath is not centered because the established 2020 is. So I think the avenue is centered. It's the lower piece that looks funny.
So do you think 2020 needs to be centered under avenue?
If I were graphic design directing it, I'd put the established underneath of it. And
yeah, small and in the middle of avenue. And
yeah, and I just scaled off the E to the right margin and the A to the left margin, and it is not truly centered. The E is closer to the right. So sometimes the sign people will do this and they won't get it right, and then once it gets set up, it gets manufactured. So I just want to make sure that each line, the words in each line are centered, and I would recommend that the established go underneath or above the 2020. It would just give it a much cleaner look.
So put the established in between avenue and 2020?
Sure.
Okay.
Roche, are you there?
I am sorry. I was trying to get Mr. Patel on here. That's okay.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get him on here. But yes, so it meets the parameters as far as our guidelines for specifically for address stones. There is a requirement by the city fire department, and I believe there's a code that has been issued that they want it to be at least 2 inches, maybe 3.
4.
But is it 4? Thank you, Pat.
4.
4. Okay, so that they can see the address. So that does meet the requirements.
We were just talking about that. We don't think the avenue is centered, that portion, and we were talking about moving the established up above the 2020 just so that kind of centers a little better. And I just wondered if we could make any of those changes staff approved.
Yes, you can. That's absolutely fine.
Okay. Do we have any other questions, folks?
No.
Do we have a motion for COA 21-26?
I will make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-21. My motion is based on the following findings. The address stone is consistent with the masonry standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review, with the following conditions: that each of the lines are centered, and that the established goes either before the 2020 or below the 2020, and that shall be staff approved.
I will second that motion.
I just wanted to say he noted it as a different or incorrect number. It must have been in there. It's 21-26.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 21-26, yes.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. The next one is also Bourbon City Capital Brewing, and it is beer garden tables, COA 21-27.
May I say something?
Yes, anytime, Suzanne. Hi. I'm
hi,
sorry we didn't
Suzanne.
say hi to you before the meeting.
Well, I hate to talk on my first meeting, however. So I was looking at this and I went to the furniture and fixtures And it's very clear that it says outdoor dining furniture becomes a prominent part of a streetscape when used in front of buildings. The entire section on furnitures and fixtures is talking about the streetscape and in front of buildings. And unless this is in front of buildings, if it is behind the pergola, then this doesn't apply. I mean, it simply doesn't apply to the furnitures and fixtures if it is on the patio.
And that's, Suzanne, yeah, we understand that that's a little bit of an issue. So basically, that's the only outdoor guideline standards that we have. And so that will be updated. We are working on doing that. But so for right now, for the basic design and scale, we're still trying to at least use that as a guide in order to try to make sure that we understand that we don't want to approve something like, for instance, a sofa that's in front of the building, right? We outside and inside behind the wall, we absolutely can. Or we don't want like bright pink furniture, for instance. So we're kind of just using that as a guide at the best that we can at this point until that is specified and rewritten. And that's going to be coming up pretty quickly, actually.
Well, this is why you don't want a lawyer. They go with the black letter law. And really, that's what it says. So
this is exactly why we need it, Suzanne. So thank you. Exactly why we need you.
I mean, considering that this is a beer garden and those are like traditional beer garden furniture.
There's authentic German beer garden tables. I personally do not like the orange. I asked the designers if we could just like sand that down. We have orange pillows that go on the chair cushions. Like they're gray cushions and there's an orange throw pillow. So it's supposed to kind of blend with that. I'm not a fan of the orange, so I just asked if we could sand them down and to like a natural wood and then varnish it.
Well, it does say in the standards that they can't be like crazy bright colors. So that's I looking at the picture, I did not realize they were orange. I thought it was just weird lighting on wood.
Oh no, it's orange.
Yeah, I would prefer that they go down to a natural wood, Dana. If that would be my recommendation to this as well, because orange furniture probably isn't in the purview of what that is kind of we're using these as a parameter. So
Right.
I would recommend it definitely go down to the natural and be stained, which I'm perfectly okay with.
Well, I mean, it says in outdoor dining 3.3.2.1, tables may be colored or of a natural unpainted material, i.e. wood or metal. Tables are not permitted to be white plastic or any fluorescent or other strikingly bright or vivid color. So it sounds like the orange completely goes against the regular.
Yes.
Thank you.
It does.
And Dana, were the legs more than one color?
Well, the legs are green, which, I'm not necessarily offended by the green because I think it'll match with the grass.
Yes.
But the orange, I do not.
Well, it does look like some of them are green and some of them are blue.
But yeah.
I think they're all green, but they might be just messed up colors.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was a lighting or actual color difference.
I don't have a problem with the metal being a color, especially this green that's kind of, it's not bright. It's a reasonable color. The orange is not.
No, I mean, I don't disagree there at all. But these were, they had them shipped over from Germany. So they were really liking that they were authentic German beer garden tables.
I think they can be authentic without being orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
Authentic.
getting a call.
Authentically natural.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments?
Just make sure that when we're approving this, it is with that condition of the color change.
Mhm.
Okay. And Roche, once they sand it, if there's any like major issues, can that come through you?
Absolutely. That's not scary. I can handle it.
I just wanted to be in the motion that any
Yes.
changes that might need to be made.
And they're not a permanent structure. I mean, they'll
Right.
just go out there during the spring and summer, and then we'll put them back in storage for, when we're, in the winter.
Okay.
Good.
Do we have a motion for COA 21-27?
I will make a motion to recommend approval of COA 21-27 with the following condition, that the tables will be sanded and made a natural stain color. At that time, that the final color can be staff approved. The beer garden tables are consistent with outdoor dining standards set forth in Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design and Review Manual.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you. You have a good one, Dana.
And Mr. Patel is on here for the 21-25.
Thank you.
Good.
All right. Can you
Mr. Patel,
let us know what's going on, Mr. Patel?
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about the project?
Okay, so basically I took over this property last year and did a cleanup around. What I'm requesting is if I could do a concrete curbing, so it would give me a clear edging around the property actually. And then from previous ownership, there is some green stuff that they poured on. So I would like to get that cleaned up in the front, so it would give me a better visual from coming in from the front end.
Okay. Now I'm looking at, so it's just a curb and there are no
Designs on it.
Is there a pattern? No design, just
Not just a
Yeah.
plain curbing.
But the color he did want our recommendation on. And I don't know if concrete, just plain gray, would be something we should do. So there's
Can I,
several.
Rashay, I just have one question. Mr. Patel, I'm sorry. Have you checked with code to make sure that you're not losing required parking spaces? Theoretically, I don't have issues with the curbing and the landscaping. We'll hear what the group says, but I don't want us to lead you down a road that you find out that you do not have the required parking spaces. Have you checked to make sure that it looks like you're losing parking spaces? Have you checked to make sure that you still are in compliance with the parking requirements?
Okay. I haven't checked with the parking, but I don't see where I would lose the parking spaces. I mean, if you could kind of point that out, I'll be more happy to check with the codes and zoning department as well.
So I'm looking, and I may not understand, but where you have the black lines on the left-hand side of your parking lot, are those? Are you taking parking spaces out, or are they already taken out?
So
That
that's
would have
already
been the
been
fence.
taken out. They have
Yeah.
landscaping stones and
got
some
it.
bushes over there already.
Okay.
I think since it's black and white picture, actually, you probably don't have a good visual on it, but there's no parking over there already.
Okay, so there's no loss of parking spaces.
No, sir.
Okay.
okay. Rashay, do you have any suggestion on the color?
I think I'm looking at
Nine.
yeah, I'm looking at that. I think that, I mean, we don't want it to be a very large detail, but I think if it looks kind of like the color of limestone, just not complete gray, I think that would be something that would be lovely. Or Mr. Patel, do you have anything that you specifically want, or do you want it to be just gray?
Like I said, all I care is basically clean up that area, and then if there's a recommendation of color from you guys, I don't really have an issue with any kind of color or anything actually, because I mean they're just they can stain it with a few different colors as I have included the brochure.
Yeah.
And if we can,
Which style are you recommending?
just a plain actually. Do you have a brochure in front of you?
Well, I'm looking at page 8 where you're showing running brick, lava, rock, flagstone. Is it one of
that's
Hey, I just included that just in case we needed to see the textures. He's choosing a smooth one that doesn't have any texture to it. So it's just going to be the angle. And that's the previous page, I believe.
With the red arrow. Yeah.
And I think too dark and it will blend in with the asphalt. So I was thinking either granite rock or like natural brown, but I can't on the screen. It's hard to discern what those really look like.
They look very similar to what's in the into the brochure for sure. I think if the board is okay with the gray, then it can be the gray.
Yeah, okay.
If the board chooses to do that, I'm okay with that, I guess.
You mean it's just regular concrete?
Yeah, I would like a limestone tint, but it doesn't show that on there.
What about the honey? Would that honey color do your limestone?
It would help probably. Let me take a look. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's natural brown, but I like the honey because it's just a little, and it would give him give the hotel a nice accent.
Yes, and let me go ahead and can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm showing the honey, which is right here, which is it's a pretty nice color in the actual brochure. So if Mr. Patel, if you're okay with the honey color, then thanks, Pat. I think that would probably be a good recommendation, that it kind of gives it a little bit of a rock color. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I should be okay with that.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay. Do we have any other questions or comments? No. All right. Let's have a motion for COA 21-25.
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 2125. The following conditions: the color of stain will be used as the honey. The landscape curbing installation is consistent with the landscape standards set forth in Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Okay, Mr. Patel, just make sure you wait until next week when City Council gives approval. And as soon as they do, after next Tuesday, if they do, I'll send you the approval letter and a certificate stating that you did get approval for your landscape curbing, okay?
We'll do that. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
You have a great night.
Thank you.
Great.
All right, Joe.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Patel.
So, all right,
Hi,
Joe, you're up.
How
Hello,
are you?
everybody. Can I welcome Suzanne first?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I'm actually really glad Suzanne's helping us out. It's going to be a great addition to the board.
Yes, it is, Suzanne. I told you we were excited.
Yeah. So anyway,
And Joe, you're not going to make us get our sleeping bags out, are you?
it's up to you, girl. We really shouldn't, unless you all want me to start this, from the start, when we went through and got the prior approval for our look and that type of thing. I know we're going to go through the details, but do I need to go back through as to what we're trying to do here as far as, trying to create a 5-bedroom house with a garage, or what do you all want me to do here to start?
No, we're good.
So we'll start with the first one. Go ahead, Beth.
Well, should we give Suzanne just a real quick overview of what we're doing?
Yes. Oh, she's read it all. She said she's read it all.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hold on, you're muted, Suzanne. But she
My
said
dog,
she's
my dog assistant was barking. I said I've read it all and I'm ready for the bite-sized pieces.
okay, great. The one thing is with the first one, so this, as you all know, and I'm kind of saying this reiterating so Suzanne knows too, the first one is the overall size, design, and placement. The issue, Joe, I emailed Jan just to verify that the setbacks have been approved. She said they had not as of this afternoon. So that would be approved. This one will be approved with the condition that they meet planning and zoning setbacks, is what I've
You know,
got.
there we go. That's the old chicken for the egg again. You know, if I'd have gone over there, she'd have told me I had to come see you first. So I'm just
I
telling
know.
you how that's been working, Rashay.
I
And
know.
that's
I know.
fine. I can't get a permit unless it gets inside the zoning regs anyway. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Okay.
anyway. But that's fine. But you know, I don't want to get. Oh, I just don't get started there tonight. We're on something else. Okay.
Okay.
But and she said I did send a plan over there over a week ago with all the things on it that you have. So it's not my fault it's not approved. It cost me $217 to make sure the garage was sitting in the right spot. So I have done it. If she's drug her feet, it's her fault, not mine. Okay? Okay. So I'm ready to start again. All right. Okay?
Go.
All right.
So the addition is what we're looking at first.
The garage will be its separate one. Yeah. The
Yes.
garage will be its own, and the pool will be with landscaping.
Yes.
So which one are we on?
2114.
21-14, Rick.
Thank you.
So basically everything we've talked about in 2 previous meetings is we approved the demolition. Now we're going to approve just the overall addition, not the details of each specific part of the addition, just overall approving.
Yes.
Like,
Yes,
kind of
if
the
anyone
layout.
had any, if there was any issues with the addition, this would be the application where it would have to be brought up.
So I guess I have a question.
Okay.
Because I'm the black letter person. The design new construction, it says do not construct new buildings that are falsely historical in design. So my question, Joe, is this falsely historical in design, as far as you know?
Well, the answer, you know, that sometimes, you know, when you look at that and then the next paragraph, you said it has to look like it fits in with the rest of the things in the neighborhood and it has to blend with what you have. So you have to tie some of those elements together. Absolutely. You know, your fascia boards, your cornice boards, your size of your windows. I mean, that stuff is definitely all there. I think where it's going to be not so historically correct is the rest of the property that goes with it, to be honest with you. The swimming pool, the unattached garage and that type of thing. But
Okay.
to blend, I felt like we had to incorporate some of the elements of the existing building. Our first plan, we really had a very distinguishable difference and the board asked me to redesign that. So in order to tie this together, I mean, I don't know how I could have taken and changed it much or you know, gotten away from the original look 100%. I don't think there's any way possible to do that.
And I think that's the intent, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the intent is not to get away with that. So
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Suzanne, part of it is too, is that, yes, so it's a very interesting construct from the National Park Service and the Secretary of the Interior. Additions are supposed to be able to be differentiated between the original structure and what they are. So you're supposed to be able to tell it's an addition, but you want it to blend.
sure.
And so that medium level of where we're at is for us to determine how we want that to look for HRB.
Right.
And the things like the siding will be, I don't know this for sure, but probably a different material. The windows will be new windows. So they will be differentiated from the original windows in the original portion of the house. Those kind of things. Not necessarily that it has to be super different from what is there. Does that make sense?
There is one big difference is that on the original portion of the house, the front, especially the front where we are going to try to redo the trough style of gutters, and the new addition will not have that trough style gutter. It'll be a typical 6-inch copper gutter. So that's one way you'll be able to distinguish from the original. But I mean, that's the only other element, because our siding and so forth will be basically the same material, except it'll be newer, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, we treat our trim and windows the same way, because I mean, I noticed here somewhere down through here and reading the notes here that the windows are supposed to match in style and I mean, it's in style and size and so forth. So it's just hard to.
Yeah, they'll match, but new windows never look exactly like, 100-year-old windows, but they are supposed to match, but we can all tell the difference.
Yeah. Well, okay, if that's part of being different, then yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Are there any other questions for the just having the addition, or any other comments? Joe, did you have something you needed to say?
Well, I do want to address the things that Rashay brought up about the mass and all this human scale and that type of thing. And, that I think that's part of the addition. Am I right, Rashay?
Yep.
Mhm.
And to me, when I look at it and when I feel it, I feel like it does have that feel that you want when you walk down the street and look at it. It's not going to be this big sore thumb sticking out of the ground that doesn't belong. So, I mean, that's kind of how I address the human scale and the mass. When we have windows in there that you don't have a great big flat wall showing. You have, I think, appropriate amount of windows in it, and where it softens the look of the house. So you don't have that just big towering building sticking out of the ground. So that's kind of how I address that. I just think I don't know how you all feel, but when I look at it, and I feel like just feels like it's part of the size and that it should be, personally. That's all I got to say on that, unless you all got something else you want to address there. That's it.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions?
No.
All right. Do we have a motion for COA 21-14?
I'll make it. I make the motion to recommend approval of COA 21-14. My motion is based on the following findings. The addition to the home is consistent with the new construction standards set forth in Section 5 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Moving on to COA 21-15. This is the doors.
So this also includes the front door being replaced. You all can see pictures of that.
Yes.
And kind of see that it is not a historic door. So it's not a historic door. How old do you think the door is, Joe?
Rashay, 25, 30 years probably.
Yeah.
If that much.
I agree. I think it's younger. But yeah, so the front door is pictured there. And then if you want to talk about the other doors, Joe, go ahead. If there's
Let me address your front door real quick.
Is the storm door original?
Oh, no.
Okay.
They didn't do that then.
Oh, I see. It's bumped. It's all like bumped. Not even.
I will tell you though that we have no intention of replacing the frame. The frame is the original in there, and this door actually it's actually, believe it or not, it's a standard door for today. It's a 36-inch door that we propose to use that frame and just rehinge the door and put a new door up there that's more appropriate style for the period that we're trying to create here. So most of that is still staying except for the door itself.
Okay.
Okay.
And then-
I guess we don't have to worry about the color at this point. It's just this style, correct, Rashay?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
Do we
really
have
not
any?
coming- Yeah. Okay.
It's mahogany. Will it be stained?
No.
No. Oh,
No, we'll paint the door.
okay.
All right. Do we have any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
All right,
Do we have-
that's just the front door now? Are we addressing the other doors while we're here?
Oh,
Yes,
That's a good
please.
Huh?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
well, all right, the side door, which is under the porch, we just propose, and you all allowed this for me many, many times before, to use a fiberglass door, and with the panel in the bottom, but three lights at the top. And I might have to change that design down the road, guys, because I've had a hard time trying to find that door. But
This is on the addition, Joe?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Underneath the porch on what would be considered the south side of the house, on the driveway side.
Okay.
Let me find your page. Hang on. It's on page 2, and you can see it. He's calling it exterior elevation right on page 2.
Nice.
Okay.
So we can just leave it, I believe, staff approval if you have to change it from the 3 lights to a 2 light.
Yes.
On that door.
And that's another distinguishable characteristic we were trying to get to. That door is applying a little bit different look to that addition too. So that was part of our logic behind that door, that style of the door.
Okay.
So, all right. And then the other things we need, the other doors are obviously the doors that are in the rear and the 10-foot tall all the way across the back, the glass all the way across the back.
Yes.
See, they will all be incorporated into the.
And they have the transoms. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, just as shown. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there will be, when you look at it, it'll look like you're looking at all windows, but on each side in the back, you'll see on each side there will be an entry door on each side, but the door and the panels, everything will all look like it's just one big glass window with the grids in it. I got a picture here. Can y'all see this? This is kind of our inspiration here a little bit for what we'd like the back of the home to look like when we get done. Can y'all see that? It's
Yes.
absolutely homey with all get out. It's gorgeous. It really is. So that's kind of what we're trying to create back here in the back.
Does anyone have any more questions regarding this particular application?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Michelle, can I have one more thing?
Yep.
So we don't miss something here. I don't want, I've requested that these be 7/8 inch SDLs in there. The grid, the simulated divided light to be 7/8 inch grids.
We're okay with that.
Because it's so big back there. I think if we go with 5/8 or smaller, it's just going to be
It'll
structurally
disappear.
down. It's going to be too small.
Yeah, I agree with that. And
Okay.
then it's at the rear of the property. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's going to be
And
the
I'm
prettiest
glad-
part of the house.
Yeah, and
You know,
but it's at the rear. The visibility of it. Do you see what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah.
we have room to be able to maneuver with that because of the visibility being null.
Right. Okay.
All right, any more questions? If not, do we have a motion for COA 21-15?
I can do that. I'll make a motion. I move to recommend approval of COA 21-15 with the following conditions. My motion is based on the following findings. The front door replacement and doors installation for the addition are consistent with the doors and new construction standards set forth in section 4 and 5 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual. Is that all we need in there?
Yeah.
And we were going to add that if the side door has to change, that could be approved.
Yep. Okay.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to COA 21-16. This is the roof. Joe, just quick, are you changing the roof on the whole structure, or is this just the addition?
It's the
No,
whole structure.
Yeah, it all needs it.
I
It's
figured. I just didn't know if they were gonna all be the same thing, and I just wanted us to know what we were looking at here.
So I have the sample. Okay. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Got it. Oh, you can't see it. Oh,
Not on the
That's it.
screen.
okay, hold on.
So dark, charcoaly.
It's not black. It's more of a deep, kind of a deep gray. It's not black.
So it's this one.
It has some nice style to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted a little more of a scallop, but you can't find them anymore. That nobody's making them. But that's the closest I could come to it and still have a little texture so the only other thing we need to touch on here, you all, is where the peaks out front. You know, I'd like to line those in copper with a copper point on top, and then all the trough gutters will be copper, which will be a part of that roof, and any valleys that'll show will be copper, and the returns on the box eaves. I'd really like to put copper on those too. And my only logic reason behind that is I know rain gets up underneath shingles and things like that in there, and I think we'll get a lot more life and be a lot less troublesome for the homeowner if we make that kind of contiguous kind of a copper in there. If you don't think that's appropriate, or I'm fine, but I'd rather not put those bulky shingles on those because they're not very big. I think that would be kind of bundlesome, to be honest with you.
You just mean on the cupola roof?
No. Just on the box eave returns on the top corners of the house. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You'll see. And it's hard to look at this stuff when you got to run around the room. Anyway, let me, I'll hold this up and just point it out. Okay. So when you make these returns right here, this one doesn't show them on here, but we've asked, the new drawing does, when they return right there. I just want that to be copper.
Riche, is that something that can be staff approved, or?
It's okay to approve.
It's okay to approve. Okay. I mean, I've never heard of us having any issue with any copper being added to a roof.
Nope.
Okay, just so we cover all these angles now, I want to, and this little portion on the side porch, that little bit of section right there is flat. So we want that to be copper also, please.
Perfect.
Okay. Be less
Joe,
likely.
can you hold your paper up a little?
We couldn't quite see.
This is a previous drawing. It's the only one I have that's small, but we're talking about right there, Rick. There's about 1.5 feet or 2 foot. It flattens out right there practically.
Yeah.
So we just want to put copper on this, and this will still be shingles, but that little bit right there will be flashed up the wall, and it'll be copper.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're referring to that as copper flashing, right?
Basically, yeah. I guess you could call it flashing. Yeah.
And the cupola is in copper.
The very cap, cap. And
The cap
we're
and the edges.
and then those edges will be copper, and all the rest of it will be shingles.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds beautiful. Do we have any other questions or comments, guys?
Ma'am?
Do we have a motion for COA 21-16?
I will make the motion to recommend the approval of COA 21-16 with the following conditions. My motion is based on the findings that the roof replacement is consistent with the new construction and roof standards set forth in Section 5 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual. So the replacement and the new roof on the addition.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to 21-17, windows.
And guys, I toured the property personally with Joe. Unfortunately, someone pulled a Houdini. Many of the historic windows were removed behind the storm windows, and they were replaced with vinyl. And so, yeah, it's bad. And so there's not a lot left. So Joe, if you want to take it over from there.
All right, I'll use these little drawings again just to show you which ones that have been. Okay, we'll be able to, let me stand up here, okay? These windows that are in the circle are fine. We will be able to keep those.
Right.
And these windows here, I think are going to be okay, but these have been replaced. So, and then the rest of the windows, there's actually some on the drawing, but they don't belong on there. There are no windows on each side except one down at the side that's bad too. So actually the only windows we're going to actually that are not been replaced are those three and these two right here. And I think this one's been replaced. I know it has, but
Yes, it has.
This one's good, but these are bad. Yeah, this is good and these are good. And we hope to maintain those. And if I am going to request if I can add grills to them though, to match the rest of the windows. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Joe, could you have your drawings clearly marked specifically which ones stay and which ones will be replaced? And if we agree to approve, I would just say, Rashay, at staff level, you need to verify the drawings that Joe will submit so we don't have any misunderstanding of which ones are being replaced and which ones are being restored.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick.
Now, why would you be so particular?
Just for the demo, all the other windows that we're asking, we would ask to replace, they're going to be demo. So they're gone.
Yeah.
So we are going to be able, these will be fine. They're going to be fine. But I'll be happy to do that, Rick. I'll give Rashay a copy of that and mark those so you can have it on file. Absolutely.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah. So
I didn't see in here. Okay, so we have simulated divided light and oh my God, I feel like an old lady. No offense to old ladies, but my eyes are getting older. So I'm looking on the COA on page 25, and these are examples of our divided lights and windows. Is that, no, that's the 7/8 for the back windows. Page 23 is our window. Is that right?
I don't know
We're
where
all
we are.
simulated divided light. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me just kind of tell you the window I want to use. It's that I think it's called sight line from gelled wind, unless we get, well, anyway. And they now have a wood product that I think that I would like to use it. But I also want that option if that's not going to be doesn't satisfy. Well, I'd really rather stay away from the clad windows on the sides and the front.
Yeah, I agree with that.
On the sides and the front, they need to be wood.
Wood, yeah.
Well, not say sides, I mean the south side and the front side.
Well,
Yes.
I think anything replaced in the original portion of the home has to be wood. I think the pieces in the addition
Can be aluminum clad.
can be clad.
Yeah. Gelwin has a window with the styles. Everything about it is very, very similar to the windows that are in that house. I mean, I don't believe, I swear from the road, I don't believe you'd ever know the difference, honestly. And they're a wood window. There'll be a wood window. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
So are we doing aluminum clad on the addition, or you want wood clad? You want wood everywhere, Joe?
No, I really want the aluminum clad on those big windows in the back.
Well, those big windows in the back are a whole different ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all of the four light windows are going to be wood, or they'll be wood on the original and aluminum clad on the addition.
Yeah, but some of them will be wood on the addition too, the new addition.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're fine
Okay.
with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
And I'm not seeing in here like the specific window, so if you could just make sure that gets to Rashay. She might have it already. It's just.
It's in a giant pamphlet, like a giant binder, it's in a booklet, excuse me, that shows them. But 2/2 is the design that he's doing, yeah. Which is.
Okay, 2/2, not, oh, right, 2/2.
Yeah.
My brain
You're okay.
isn't reacting properly. Okay, so are there any other questions or comments for COA 21-17?
Right, can we go back just a minute? I'm not.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't talk about the grill size. And that
Okay.
single divide, since we're doing 7/8 on the other product, I would like for this to be 7/8 too. I think the windows are large enough to warrant that. Because when you see those big windows in the past, you didn't see that little bitty 5/8 inch grill coming down the middle like that.
What is the size grill that's currently there, Joe?
There are none.
There are none, that's right, yeah. Because they're 1/1 window, trying to save to add the grills too.
I'm trading some wood windows for grills and just a single to make a 2/2.
Yeah,
Which is, I think, is a lot more appropriate style for this period of house and this kind of vernacular home that it was. I think it's a lot more appropriate than that big window there. Just,
okay.
but they'd be
Is
mounted on
that-
the inside. Those on the old windows, they will not be outside. I'll have them made to fit inside. And that they
We
look.
would have to,
I've done them before. They look really good.
They'll
but we
to
would
be-
have, we would have to have an external grill on the outside though, for the front.
It'd have to look like a simulated divided light, right? So
Yeah,
on the
so we would have to have an external grill on the front windows for sure. On the front of the house.
It's a half dozen, 1/6 the other. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I just want to make sure, what does the code say? Oh my God, there's so many pages about adding a grill like that to an original window.
So here's what's happening. What was left is 1/1 windows, but they have been replaced at some point also. Now, if they're 50 years or older, they appear to be older, but I don't think that they're original. So that's the other part of this house. It's a makeshift jumble of windows. And most of them, you see what I'm saying? Most of them have been replaced. So that's why
we think the 2/2 was more appropriate for the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Because there's what's left of the older windows, they have been modified as well. So there's problems with that too, to determine what was left there. So we're kind of at a question, of what we had left. So that's why that can be considered.
I just request, Joe, that whatever you do with these grills, specifically that you, Rashay, approve those.
Okay.
Because we can't really see them here, so I just want to make sure that we are doing the right thing.
I really don't have anything to present to you because I'd have to get it made.
I understand that. I just want whatever the final product is, I want it, Rashay, to know about it.
And we're okay. We have to have external grills on that original structure.
Absolutely.
Yep. And SDLs on the additions.
And the grills will be wood.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I assumed, but we got to put this all in the meeting.
I understand. I did. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Are there any other questions? Or Joe, did you have anything more to say?
No, I'd mentioned storm windows, but they wouldn't be your typical if we do that. But I think we can address that later. They'll definitely have to have something on. But
I feel like we addressed the rear windows in the kind of all glass room with the doors, but does anybody else have any other questions about what those are going to be and what they're going to look like? Nope. All right. Do we have a motion for COA 21-17?
Okay, I will make a motion to recommend the approval of COA 21-17 with the following conditions. that my motion is based on the findings that the new construction windows and windows on the main structure replacements are consistent with the new construction window standards set forth in section 4 and 5 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual. The windows on the existing structure, the original structure, will have external grills, and those on the addition may have SDL.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wait a minute. Can we look, wait a minute. Did that motion say the new windows on the new addition on the south side, there will be SDLs, but they will be wood?
Yeah, that's
SDLs.
fine. That's
Okay.
fine.
They can be wood.
Yeah.
And does the wording, Pat, let's just double check here.
Sure.
Does that wording in item number 1 refer to, it says new construction? Are we also referring to the existing historic home replacement and restored windows?
Yes, it says, and the windows on the main structure's replacement. So that's the second phrase.
Okay, the main structure replacement, but aren't we also restoring some of the windows on the main structure?
Right,
Yes.
so they're not going to change.
But
So
they're
for
going to
the
be
grill.
restored, aren't they?
Yeah. So restoration and
Restoration
replacement.
But restoration is in kind, right?
So I just would recommend that sort of final sign off on this comes at staff level by Riche, and she's specifically going to sign off on drawings that Joe will submit that details every one of these issues. Where is the external grills? Where's the 7/8? What's being replaced? What's being restored? So we have a document that's approved rather than just our talking in language. So I say approve as we've just described, but require the condition is there's a final check off by Riche for each one of these items. So we're just, you know why we're doing it, so we don't get caught in the future.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm good with all that. I'm good with that, Rick. That's good.
I agree.
So Pat, if that's in your motion,
We can
Yes,
make it so, Riche.
yes.
All right.
Make it so. Star Trek.
A second time, do we have a second?
second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. All right, moving on to COA 21-18 foundation. And I'm trying to figure,
Sure.
Go ahead, Joe. The foundation won't be visible for most part of that, and it will be a poured concrete. But Joe, please go ahead and do your details.
Mhm. You know, almost all of it's on grade. We are going to pour a foundation on a basement, and I'm going to safely say none of it's going to show.
so you can't see it in the drawings.
No, there just won't be. There's none. It's if you stay with the house like it is, you can't raise it up. So when I have no foundation, we have no showing foundation.
Mhm.
Okay,
You just need to put it where it was sunk, where it didn't have that foundation. On the
Well, there's a rock foundation there.
Okay.
But I think by the time though we finish and we grade the yard, we're going to be right up at the level of the material that's the siding.
Okay.
We get the water away from the house because it's only going to be maybe 2, 3, 4 inches out of the ground.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll run the concrete up higher than that, but the material will come down and lap over it.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any questions or comments?
No, ma'am.
Do we have a motion for COA 21-18?
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 21-18 with the following conditions. The new construction foundation is consistent with the new construction and foundation standards set forth in section 4 and 5 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
we have a second?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to 21-19, paint.
Joe, do
You
you
know,
want to talk about what?
Yeah, I put the pre-painted, you only get so many choices of the off-white, white type thing. And I tried to match, and it looked like alabaster was the color that's going to match the windows, the clad windows the best. But I think we still need to make sure when we get the windows that color's right, because everything on the house is going to be that color, top to bottom. So there's no accent, nothing on it. It's just white or parchment or alabaster, which one color looks the best with those new windows.
Well,
Even
this,
Let's approve alabaster, and then if we have to change it, we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
especially with the technology that can match the actual color on those windows.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I am. And to be honest with you, I think all the doors are going to be that too. To be honest, I don't see any accent coming that way, honestly. I think it's just going to be real clean. So that's the idea anyway.
Okay. So,
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Uh-oh. Down, Gemma.
Do we have a motion for COA 21-19? And is it okay, Rashay, for the door to be the same color and everything like that?
Yep, it's absolutely okay.
Okie doke. Let's hear a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of COA 21-19. My motion is based on the following findings. The paint color is consistent with the new construction and paint standards set forth in section 4 and 5 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
I will second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
21-20 is the siding. It looks like, Joe, it's going to be wood.
It's a 6-inch lap siding, wood.
My only question is, as low as the siding is coming to the ground,
Yes.
would it be appropriate to put like one run of hardy plank down there just so it doesn't rot?
To be honest with you, hardy plank doesn't. If you don't leave it off the ground so far, they won't warranty it. But Beth, I'm not sure that this house justifies having a board down there. That sounds terrible, but it's just.
I just meant the lowest run of siding.
Yeah. Well, if it couldn't be a foot tall or something to scale like that,
Oh,
I would probably rather stay away from it, to be honest with you.
Okay. I was just
I know it's a
thinking
gamble.
about the wood and the
It's
moisture.
a gamble. I know, but I think to look right, I think we probably need to leave that board off, honestly.
And then you actually submitted a sample too, Joe, that was clay mark. Do you want to talk about that? Are you using that for what specifically?
It's a product that Buzix is carrying now, plus that Western Red Cedar. If it's available, I would like to use that material.
Okay.
And who knows if it'll be available.
What?
But it's real wood. It's real wood.
Real wood.
It's a imported wood, but it's real.
What's it called?
It is called Claymark Ingrain Precision. Exterior interior 50-year limited warranty, and it is from New Zealand. It's a pine that's grown from New Zealand.
Oh, pine. Okay. Okay. I mean, I guess I'm okay with any
It's
wood.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to look just like any other lap wood siding that you have.
Yeah.
Milled the same way.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any other questions or comments?
So all the trim work and so forth, is that part of this too? And that'll
Yes.
be a boral or an equivalent of boral,
Okay.
that type of material, non-rotting
That-
material.
That's on the addition. That won't be on the original portion.
No, the original portion's fine, I believe. I mean,
Right,
you might have to
kinda-
replace 1 or 2 boards in there, but right now it's all covered up with vinyl and
Aluminum,
aluminum.
vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wait, vinyl, the front portion is vinyl?
all of it is.
Yep.
Yeah, the whole house is vinyl.
Yeah, this was modified, I think, before HRB regs were really into place, but I mean, it was still modified nonetheless. Heavily.
It's probably after the 60s. I mean, it was.
So is the vinyl staying or?
No, no.
I didn't
No.
think Joe would leave vinyl, but
No.
The
No.
vinyl's going away.
so we're just replacing boards that need to be replaced once you pull that vinyl off.
As needed, yes.
Okay. And the trim on the addition portions will be boral.
Yes.
5/4 board to match, I think it's 4.5 inches on the original house, I believe.
And is it going to have any of those on the front? I don't even know what they're called, which is terrible. I have an architecture degree. At where that kind of holds up the gutters, the little decorative pieces, that's not going to be on the addition. That's just on the original.
It'll be on the front port of the addition,
Okay.
across the front.
And those pieces will be wood or they'll be boral.
I don't know they won't be boral, but they'll be, I don't know what kind of product they'll be. They'll probably be wood, probably be cedar, Western red cedar. But trying to match them is going to be the hard part. So we might, we'd have to see what's available and go from there. But,
Well, I would just ask that whatever you find, run that by Roche. You know the deal.
I'm sure I can get it out of. Let's just leave it at Western red cedar, and I know I can have them custom made out of Western red cedar. And then we'll paint them to match.
Okay. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Joe?
No.
All right. From the board, any more questions or comments? All right. Do we have a motion for COA 21-20?
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 21-20, the following conditions and measurements based on the following findings. The new construction and siding are consistent with the new construction and siding standards set forth in section 4 and 5 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second,
I'll second that.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to 21-21 gutters. Joe, you want to give us
I think I touched on it already, but the trough gutters, we're going to install those back with copper. And then want the rest of the gutters on the house to be that 6-inch K profile with, I think Roche made a note about being the round gutters off of the K round downspout, but I would rather see the round downspouts on the house myself with the K style copper gutters on the rest of it. But then, the up front will be the troughs. You won't even see those, but we will make those out of copper.
Okay.
Yeah.
this, Joe?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
6-inch copper. I think it'll be big enough to carry the water. That going smaller won't do it.
Well, my only question is if it needs to go bigger, Roche can he do that? I mean, 6 inches.
He can do that and just inform me. Absolutely. If he needs to go one size larger.
Okay. I know a lot of times we say we want the rounded gutters, but we're okay with this, Roche. I mean, I think this in copper will be beautiful.
I think so too. And it'll be on the addition, which warrants it not being round.
Right. And also I think the decorative, it matches the decorativeness of the house, I think.
Yeah.
Joe, did you have any other comments, sir?
I think the half round gutters, the water on the big rains will tend to just wash right over the top of them. So that's why I suggested these gutters because water, we gotta get, this is gonna be, something we need to be, aware of. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Do we have any more questions or comments from the board?
Oh, man.
If not, let's have a motion, please.
I will make a motion to recommend approval of COA 21-21 with the following. My motion is based on the findings that the gutters are consistent with the gutter standards set forth in Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design and Review Manual.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Right.
And guys, real quick, who seconded the last COA? Just to double check that one.
I think I did.
I think that was correct. Okay, that's what I had down. I wanted to make sure. Thanks, Pat.
So moving on to lighting in 21-22.
Joe, can you talk about the lighting and where those are
Oh,
going to
hell,
be?
I'm off on my own little world here right now. Yeah,
It's
I never
okay.
had so much paperwork in my life, for sure.
I know.
I think
Sorry.
y'all have that in front of you. The only gas lantern that we actually are asking to do is to do that center light on the porch with the yoke. The rest of them will all be copper material, but they'll be electric.
So is it the one with the curve at the top?
Yeah.
Or
I lost my page here. Hang on, I'm getting.
here, hold on. Is it
Oh,
this guy? Or is it the
No,
one that's
those are
square?
going on those are going on the sides.
The-
Hang on,
This,
aspen.
this guy, Joe?
Front porch is the aspen.
I moved it over here. Hang on a minute, guys. I'm sorry. I apologize. All right. See. All right. The
Oh,
one
I
with
see.
the yoke. The one with the yoke is the natural gas, guys. See that? I think I got it written on there.
And is that
that's
a wall mount or is it hanging?
No, that'll hang from the ceiling in the front porch, in front of the door. And I think I've got a specification page back there on the size of it.
I couldn't find the size.
On that one?
You can tell us what it is, Joe.
Well, I don't know. I know what it was. I know what it was. Honestly, don't know what it can be yet because that I don't think that ceiling will change in there, but it's probably going to be about 21 inches, but it has to come down to the top of the door. Not, can't be below the door. So
Okay.
can I specify it that way or not? So when it
Yes,
hangs,
you can.
then the bottom of the lamp will be above the top,
Okay.
the frame on the door. It won't be any lower than the frame on the door.
Okay.
Probably about 21 inches, most likely is what they usually are. I thought I'd have that info in there.
And is there a possibility you'll have to raise up the ceiling just in that above the door portion or?
No, actually, I think what it's been added onto, so we're actually probably going to go up taller. We take all the stuff that's been added to it. It's had couple different applications of roof, different ceiling materials on it.
Okay.
So I think there's a beaded ceiling up in there somewhere. That
And
would be
if there's
nice.
not, I'm sorry, Joe, go ahead. I interrupted.
Well, I'm hoping the existing beaded ceiling is in good enough shape to stay there, but it's been covered up with 2 different applications of other stuff. So hopefully it's good enough to maintain, and that'll determine the height, how much we hang down when we get the rest of the stuff off up there.
Yeah.
So
And if it's not beaded ceiling, that's what you're going to go up there with.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's okay, right, Rashay? We don't have to.
Yes. That's in
But-
kind.
I think
Okay.
it's going to be fine.
I just wanted to address it while we're talking about it. Okay. So we've talked about the one gas light. What else is going to be happening, Joe?
Well, the other lights that we have are they're not going to be gas. They're going to be electric. Okay.
Okay.
And I think we've got them here. We got two side lights. I think we got 2 side lights on the front door, and then the side door has the same type of light, only smaller. And then those Sarasoters, they go on the garage.
Okay, the Sarasotas are on the garage. The Brunswick with the kind of
Wait
curly
a minute,
Q.
let me go back a minute. I'm wrong on that. The Sarasota is the garage entry door and then the side porch entry door. Well, that's on the garage. Those are garage. I'm sorry, that is garage. Okay.
And the Brunswick is what's going to go on the sides of the front door and on the side door.
Correct.
And do you know what size?
There will be, what do we have here? Yes. Hang on a minute. That's not right.
There's a large in here and a medium.
Yeah. They say 30 and a quarter, but 24 inches is the size that you want out there. 24 inches. Make a note of.
So is that the medium or the large? Because they only give the overall dimension instead of the dimension of the actual lantern.
You know, I can't answer all that. I'll be honest with you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess I'm primarily after the style, and
Well,
I
Joe,
don't know
I
how.
think the styles are beautiful, but I really question the height, the fixtures themselves, like even the medium Sarasota talks about being almost 30 inches tall, and that's gigantic.
That's that includes that humongous bracket, which is really not going to be part of the actual lantern. That's why I was asking if we knew the dimension of the actual lantern.
It looks like it's 17 inches. So the back plate's 17. I'm sorry, but I can't answer that. I don't know.
I just know there are some structures in town that have very inappropriate sized lighting, much too large for the building itself. And I didn't want this home to get in the same position.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't tell you, and that's why I can't tell you, because I want it to be right, I guess.
Yeah.
There was a lot there. I just kind of missed that a little bit.
Can we approve the style and staff approve the size?
That's what I was going to recommend. Give staff approval to the size for me, please.
Okay. And then we're not talking about the garage lighting right at this moment, correct, Rashay? We're just talking about those two that we've discussed.
Yep.
No, it's on the garage also.
No, on the garage is a totally different light.
Well, there's two on the front that come off that page. Yeah, those are.
So we can refer back to that page whenever we come back to the garage one. We're just going to do the garage one all in one because it's all the same material, but we can reference back those lights on this page.
Okay, so the Sarasota, the ones that are straight instead of tapered, are the garage ones. So just so everybody's on the same page, on page 16.
No.
Yep.
It's for the garage entry door and the side porch entry door. The Sarasota.
I thought the side entry door was also a Brunswick.
No, it's complicated. The Brunswick's on the two sides of the overhead door.
Is it possible for me to get these approved at a later date or not?
Oh, yeah.
Joe, why don't we get them approved, but leave the final placement and the height approved at staff level? Yeah, I don't think you should come back and waste everybody's time.
Right.
They're nice fixtures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect what Pat's asking, and Pat, if you're comfortable with Rashay reviewing the final size, good. And it is a lot of light fixtures, and we're not sure exactly where they go, but let Rashay approve that at staff level.
Yeah.
I can handle that.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, go with the style. That's good.
Okay. If there are no other comments or questions, could we have a motion?
I make the motion to recommend approval of COA 21-21 with the following conditions.
21-22.
Sorry if that's wrong.
Well, you got 22 at the top and 21 at the bottom. So which one is it?
It's 22.
22.
Okay, COA 21-22 with the following conditions. That the final size and the actual placement on the home be approved at staff level by Rashay. My motion is based on the following findings. The lights are consistent with the lighting standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
We have a second.
I can second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we're going to jump ahead to COA 21-28.
And if that is incorrect on your alls, I apologize. This one is only for the porches and the sidewalks, not the driveway. The driveway is 33.
Okay.
So you want to talk about the porches and the sidewalks, Joe?
I can, did you, the only way I presented those was on the landscaping plan. Okay.
Okay.
I hate to say it, but I didn't get those. They didn't come in. I don't have those COAs, but I can do this. Right? I know. So anyway, how you want me to approach this, Shay? I mean, the landscaping plan is there. Yeah. Okay.
Are we approving material or are we approving location? Because
Both.
location wouldn't location be in landscaping?
No, I'm including this because I broke it up. I did landscaping and the pool together. So I tried to combine large ones together that were like that. So the landscaping and the pool is together, but the porches and sidewalks, this is location and material, are in 28.
Okay, Joe.
Well, I mean, my location and everything are noted on the landscape plan as far as where they're going to be located and how wide they are and all that are on the landscaping plan. Except
that's on page 12, guys, if you haven't found it.
And the front porch is really broken up. It's sagging. It's all concrete. We want to replace that. The front sidewalk is pretty bad shape too. And then the new sidewalk coming off the driveway, and then the one that'll be eventually coming from the garage. Those are the sidewalks we're talking about. And our material that we're going to use, we're proposing for the pool decks is Indiana limestone. So we have asked that we could just tint this concrete just enough to finish it with that, just a sponge finish that makes it actually have that feel and look of limestone. And we've done this several times before, and it's turned out really well. I mean, it gives you that look without that gray, brand new looking concrete. So.
That sounds great to me. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
No,
there's not a specific color that you can put in there. It's they kind of do it as they pour it, and there is a colorant, but I think you have to know what you're doing in order to get that limestoney look. But then they'll all kind of match this natural limestone we're proposing around the pool.
Okay. That sounds good to me.
And do we know if all this concrete meets the, I don't know, the green to concrete ratio, whatever that's called?
Yeah, that's on the landscape plan. Yeah.
What was that? What was that question?
You're asking about green space.
Oh,
it would have to meet the planning and zoning requirements before he was allowed to build to get the permit.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 42% on the green space on the lot. Requirement's 30.
So
Okay.
that's good.
I guess we do just have to include that it has to be approved by planning and zoning in our proposal, in our motion.
It was. I think, didn't he say it's already been measured?
No.
Okay.
I measured it at 42%.
Okay.
I mean, I'm 12% over what it's required, so I feel like I'm going to be okay.
Okay, well, we just need to include that stipulation in our motion, which I'm sure is something you have to go through anyway.
Yes,
Um,
agree.
so do we have any other questions or comments, guys?
No,
We're
ma'am.
gonna, can we approve that as per landscape sidewalks, as per the landscape design shows? Is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah.
Mhm. Positions, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can make a motion to recommend approval of COA 21-28 with the following conditions. The porches and sidewalk installations are consistent with the new construction and site standards set forth in section 4 and 5 of the Bardstown Historic Design and Review Manual. And these will be placed in relation as shown on the landscape design for this property.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to COA 21-29 shutters.
And just for the pool house, they are wood louvered shutters, and Joe, do you want to, do you have anything else to add besides that they're louvered shutters for the pool?
No,
House.
I mean, they're just designed to be a privacy thing. You will never, unless you go back there to the pool, you'll never see them unless you're in their property, because they're right on the property line. That's part of the garage. The shutters are.
Are they interior or exterior?
They'll be exterior.
Okay.
Yeah,
So they just have to be hung to be, even if they're not operable, to appear to be operable, Joe. You know exactly.
No,
Yeah, you.
I put them in here that I want them to be operable. Movable,
Excellent.
what I call them.
Yeah.
Well, you got to let some air through there.
Great, great,
So
great.
they're
Okay.
once again Western red cedar that'll be painted a color. Now, they might get an accent color, but we'll call it white for now.
Just trying to see where they are on this plan. If that's on the right page.
So page 8.
There. But, I didn't know we were talking about that, but it's on the garage. See it back here in the back.
Can you raise it up a little?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, right back here.
Okay.
Drawing.
Okay.
What's up?
Do we have any other questions or comments?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, let's hear a motion.
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 2129. My motion is based on the following findings. The shutters are consistent with the shutter standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
I will second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We didn't have any opposed, I don't think. Didn't hear everybody. All right, moving on to 21-30, pool deck.
This is the pool deck with the Indiana limestone, Joe.
You're right.
So is
there's
that a color or actual material?
Actual material.
Was it? Yeah, and the coping on the pool is, is also the limestone.
That's right.
Kind of hard to send you a color of Indiana limestone, black and white. Just kind of hard to do. I did send a lot of literature on what Indiana limestone is and where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of us probably got a pretty good idea of what that looks like.
And that's when we look at.
I can get a sample if y'all need it. I mean, it's not.
no.
I will get a sample. But,
No, this is good information.
for the Zoom purposes, it doesn't do much.
So when we're looking at this landscape plan, you can sort of see lines, and that indicates limestone pavers. So that's the whole section, including where like the pool seats are.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so it'll go basically just to that sidewalk. All that'll be
Yeah.
limestone.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I mean, sounds beautiful. Does and when you say the coping, Joe, you mean like the edge of the pool?
Yeah. Go around the edge that goes over the pool. Yeah.
Okay. Joe, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
What are we talking specifically about now? Landscape?
The
Or what are we
pool,
The pool deck.
Oh, the coping. Coping. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
or
not
just
really.
pool?
No.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments, guys?
No.
No.
Do we have a motion for COA 21-30?
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 2130. My motion is based on the following findings. The pool deck is consistent with the deck standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
I just want to add something before we get all the way through this. We are approving this pool, but I also want to note that it is not visible from the street.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you, Beth.
Because we didn't talk about that. It's just obvious in the plan, but when we go through our notes, that's something that we should note. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to 21-31. The pool
Now
and
this,
landscaping.
yeah.
Just the design of the pool and the landscaping.
I guess the comment about the pool not being visible from the street is actually more appropriate for this one. But.
You know, if you stand at this, I don't believe the way the house and the carport, the garage is designed.
There's
Including any
looking at the plan.
landscaping, you'll never be able to see it.
Yeah,
The
there's
vantage
no-
point from the street will not show, but it will be. You can see we've got landscaping across right there. Those and even if there was a little sneak hole in there, you would never. I don't believe you will ever see the pool unless you get off the road to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Joe, are you taking any trees down?
Yeah, there's where the new addition is being built onto the house. There's a tree right there, and there's a couple of really nasty come along locust trees in the front yard that are really bad. This one tree is right where the new addition is going. Now there's a great, really nice oak tree around to the north side that is staying.
But obviously you are adding a ton of, I can't totally read this.
Well,
All these trees that run down the side, what are those going to be on either side?
right now, those are these bracken magnolias. It's just a privacy and a year-round green thing, where you got, they won't lose their leaves. I mean, they do lose leaves, but they don't lose them all at one time. So you'll have green all year long and have a little privacy in there. Most of the other plants that we're proposing are things that work around here that most people use. Kind of hard to get away from some of it.
And back here off the kind of the back of this kind of living room.
Yes.
Looks like there's a paver section with a tree and some, I think those are planters. Could you describe that? I can't quite read
Yeah, those little things are planters. They're just in pots. It's not
we don't.
around. Yeah.
We're not here
And
to.
those other little stones are just big flagstone in there, or big limestone, irregular limestone, and it's just going to be like a fire pit there. Is what that's designed to be.
Okay.
Not a built-in fire pit.
Yeah. And then I'm asking just because it's hard to read. This says evergreen laurels and hydrangea adjacent to the pool house and the driveway.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Something about garden beds. I can't read it.
About what?
It just says something about. I just can't read everything, but I think it's okay. We need to also talk about. Oh, the driveway is a different one. I'm sorry. And then on the front, the planting that kind of is adjacent to the sidewalk. Can you tell us about those?
You know, it's just, they're just boxwoods and just perennial flowers.
Okay.
Just these little boxwoods that'll stay, you know, probably, I'm sure that they'll keep them trimmed back to a couple of feet tall, a couple of, if that much.
And a couple of evergreens. Those are boxwoods too, I guess.
Yes.
Oh, a holly to mark the entrance is what it says. Roche, do you have any comments or issues with this plan? I mean, it doesn't say every single plant or anything, and I think that's okay.
No.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Their name.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with it as long as the pool is completely concealed by landscaping. Like, you know, it's not visible at all. That's just what I wanted to make sure of.
You're saying visible and all from 3rd Street, correct?
Yes.
Are there any other questions about the landscaping, guys?
No.
I don't have any.
I do have one more, Joe. You said they were dogwoods that run down each side of the property line.
No, Southern Magnolia. Southern Magnolia.
So they're large trees.
No.
They can get 20 to 30 feet, maybe. That's
Okay.
That's 30 feet would be.
Are they the kind that, you know, they have just a trunk and then a lot of greenery up at the top, or are they the kind that
all the way to the ground?
All the way down? Okay,
I mean, you can trim them. You can trim them off, but I wouldn't. That probably don't suggest it. Then at one time of the year, they have these beautiful, beautiful white blooms on them.
Okay.
Awesome.
It was just, you know, if they're the Southern Magnolia, that's a big tree, then that might not block what we need to block, but that was my question. All right. Do we have any other questions or comments? All right. Do we have a motion for COA 21-31?
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 21-31. A motion is based on the following findings. The pool and landscape design is consistent with the landscape design standards set forth in Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Do we have a second?
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to COA 21-32. This is the garage. Uh, 32. All right, Riche, could you address what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so this is the entire garage / pool house. So this is all the materials. This is everything, the lighting, the roof, the windows. I just basically, I put this because we've reviewed almost every one of the materials at this point, and I did not want to make separate applications for each aspect of the garage since we've just reviewed everything. So just a basic summary of what it looks like, the size, its location, and then all the materials used on it and the design.
Drawings.
Shay, the only thing we haven't talked about really on materials would be the shakes.
That's right, cedar
And then-
shake.
And we would do that out of boral.
And they would be painted white like everything else, or?
Correct. Yes.
Wow. Gosh.
Does anybody have any problem with those shakes?
No.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I think it's lovely. I guess we do need to address the little thing on the top,
The cupola.
Oh,
cupola. Did we approve one of those on South Third?
No, we actually got it turned down. But
The only reason I find this one more manageable is because it sort of matches the front of the house a little bit.
You're talking about the turret?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the style of this house is very different than the style of that other house. This is a lot more decorative with that turret in the front, you know. More, what is the style of this house, Roche?
It is Queen Anne Victorian.
Right, that's why this cupola might make sense. But I would love to hear what everybody else has to say about it.
I think your point makes sense. It ties the garage into the house.
I'm not saying I have no misgivings. I'm just saying this is more understandable than the time that we turned it down. But we also did turn one down, so we need to consider that. Does anybody, Rick?
I'm okay with it.
For where it's going to sit on the
Yeah, it's very far back. I feel like the kind of the decorativeness ties it together. I am looking for the drawing of the garage. Roche, do you have any comments or thoughts about it?
The only thing, Joe, the little peak where it goes down into the V, I hadn't seen that on anything and it kind of concerned me. Can you talk about that a little bit?
well, yes. I'll be honest with you, I don't care for it either, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But you know, I could have that. I don't want to detain everything here, but I could have that drawn in what they call like a jerkin head roof, and it's very, it's used on that street several times over. We actually had it on our original garage plan. Let me see if I can show you one. See if y'all can see it. I doubt it. Oh, you can. This is pretty. I think can everybody see this right there?
Yes.
That's just such a different style of house, though. Like that little hip. That was my other question too. The little.
Yeah. Well,
the little hip.
It's used across the two houses across the street from us have this little roof, this jerkin head roof on it.
That seems much more appropriate than what's being drawn there. Correct. I mean, I'm not a fan of it, to be honest.
Well, those houses are just a completely different style of house across the street.
Well, if you go down on South Third, about halfway down on the block, there's kind of a brownie gold house. They have it too, and it's a much older home than those across the street from it. So you see that in Bardstown. It's used several times in the historic district.
I guess the other question is it visible from the front at all? Because
no, it's not.
It's very square.
Yeah. I think what makes it look kind of strange is the gutter, the downspout going right down the middle of the wall. You know, I really do not have a problem with presenting Roche or something with that other look. Maybe we could look at a future.
Yeah, I would recommend that one if we could do that. You can do, if the board is comfortable with that. I'm just, that detail really does not seem to fit Bardstown in the way that it's being presented. So I would really like to see something else presented by Joe. If we have evidence of it being on other homes, carriage houses could be a lot of different things, which is what he's trying to do here, is mimic the pool house and the garage to be a carriage house. It could have a lot of other details, such as the roof, because it would be added at a later time. And with Queen Anne Victorians, they would have used whatever was kind of trendy. They would have picked on certain elements that would have been available to other people and kind of put it together as a vernacular catch. So I would prefer something else with that one. It just, when I saw it, it did a little jerk with me taking a look at it, and I would love to see something else. I did. I kind of caught myself. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I see what I'm looking at here.
Rashay, can we approve of the garage for everything except that detail? And then we have two options to approve of that detail at your staff level, or we come back to the board for final approval on it. I don't want to
Yep.
hold up the overall garage and the overall project over that detail. Joe's in agreement that he'll change it. So
Yeah.
what's the best way to allow them to proceed and still have a say-so on how that detail is handled?
It could be, well, staff approval would be the easiest, of course. But if you have any comments of what you would like for it to be, I can't really send it back out because that would be considered another application. So staff approval would probably be the only way that it could be.
I'm comfortable with Joe and you working through it.
Okay.
That's only my opinion.
I am as well.
Okay.
So
Thank you, guys.
I'm kind of okay with that. No, I'm perfectly fine with that, Rashay. Just seeing if you were awake.
Yeah, I'm here. I was like, okay, Pat.
And our cupola, we've come to a conclusion that because of the style of the house, we're okay with that. And
Yeah.
because it's so far back from the street.
Yep. It's not on a corner lot.
No. Do we have any other questions or comments? If no, do we have a motion for COA 21-32?
I will make a motion to recommend approval of COA 21-32 with the condition that the roofing line change that's been discussed would be staff approved, while the garage as a whole is consistent with the new construction standards set forth in Section 5 of the Bardstown Historic Design and Review Manual.
Second?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pat, I just want to commend you on that motion. It was great.
It was. Great job.
All right, moving on to COA 21-33. This is the drive.
Last one, Joe.
Okay. So the only difference between the drive and the rest of the house is the rumble stone. Everybody opposed to my rumble stone?
What is it?
So it's just a
rumble
nice,
stone?
yeah. It's just that little decorative area that breaks up the long driveway.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
So the one.
But is it stamped concrete or it's a
No.
Okay.
It's real, no.
And it's at that side door and at the front of the driveway?
Yes. Yeah.
And is this brushed concrete going to be stained similarly to the, pardon me,
Yes. Yeah, it'll
left-
just have a small tint in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Look, a little limestone brush to it.
And what are the cobblestones made of? Excuse me, the
They're
rumble.
It's real
They're
stone.
Oh, they're real stone. Oh, never mind. They're real. They're not stamped. They're real stone. My
Oh, no,
mistake.
it's not. No, it's no stamp. I know you don't allow that. Well, I wouldn't even try that anyway. But no, it's not a stamp. No, it's real stone.
Joe, I've allowed it as an edging on a driveway,
Right.
but not a full driveway. So what kind of stone did you say?
It's just a rumbled, like a limestone or, a quarry rock.
Okay.
anything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm gonna
It's
talk
rounded.
about.
It's kind of carved so you don't cut your tires off. But it's designed just to give you a little texture when you come in, so you know you're also leaving and coming. It's just a nice feature
No, it's lovely.
to come home to.
The rumble strips. All right, Joe, did you have anything else you'd like to add? Okay. Do we have any other questions from the board?
No, ma'am.
Do we have a motion for COA 21-33?
I will make a motion to recommend the approval of COA 21-33 with the following condition, that my motion is based on the findings the driveway is consistent with the site standards set forth in Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design and Review Manual.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay.
Aha, now you have to wait for city council.
I've heard they're
good.
pretty hardcore over there.
Yeah, I've
are.
heard they're pretty specific.
We're getting that way. Suzanne,
Excellent.
are you okay tonight?
Specifically one guy. There's one guy that's super hardcore over there.
I
I
know
think
it.
his name is Joe.
David Jones.
David Jones.
Well,
Okay,
I appreciate y'all's time. I know there'll be tweaks in here. It has to be, but at least we can get started. I think it's going to be a great project. I think the town's going to be very proud of it.
yeah,
It's a nice statement going on that toward that end of town. The fella came in today. He's trying to clean up that property a little bit, so that's another good sign going that direction. So
Yes, it is.
this is, and then it's going to be good for that end of town. That's all I can say. Rick's been a big advocate for trying to get things to go that way, kind of clean that up and redo that area. So
yeah,
here we go. Hopefully.
yes. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
The staff approved item COA 21-24. Can you talk about that, Rashay?
Yes, I can. Basically, they replaced their roof. It was a slight change in color just because the shingles had faded, but it was I think it was a 3-tab to an architectural shingle and then just slight change. But either way, it's a shingle to a shingle, and Beth and I staff approved that.
Okay.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
So do we have a motion to approve COA 21-24?
I have to recuse myself from this. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Josh.
Yeah, you do.
Sorry.
Yeah, you do, Josh.
Okay. I will make a motion to recommend approval of COA 21-24. My motion is based on the findings that the roof replacement is consistent with roof standards set forth in Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Do we have a second?
Second it.
All in
Excellent.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Rashay, any new or old business? Rashay?
She went mute. You're on mute, Rashay.
No, there's not. Yay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Do we need to announce when the next meeting is in our meeting? Should we do that?
You can. The next meeting will be on April 20th at 6 p.m.
Okay.
third Tuesday of every month.
All right, do we have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second?
I will second that motion.
All in
Excellent.
favor?
Aye.